Federal government vows to clamp down illegal miners. Massive retirement paralyzed civil service in Jigawa State. France instituted troop stays in Niger despite court order. Today is Monday, 19th of Safar, 1445, after the hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is equivalent to 4th of September 2023. I'm Khadija Nulamin Enliman with News Info. The federal government has given a 30-day ultimatum to illegal miners to join artisanal cooperatives or face the wrath of the law. Addressing newsmen yesterday in Abuja, the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, said from October, a rejuvenated security regime will become active in the solid minerals sector and will include the mine police. He said after the heavy rain, the water coming down from the mountains around the town of Daikengari contributed to the flooding. He advised that the flood might be prevented if a concrete fence and outlet could be constructed around the mountains. He called on people of the area to desist from erecting buildings on waterways and culverts as well as dumping of refuse. He said the local government has assisted the victims with relief materials and had contacted the state government and other relevant agencies for further intervention. In the wake of the 2022 flood disasters, peasant farmers have continued to grapple with challenges as many of them in the most affected state say they were denied relief materials by the National Emergency Agency NEMA. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development had in November 2022 estimated the total direct economic damage of the flood at 3 trillion naira. With about 944,989 hectares of farmland destroyed. This was beside the death of 665 citizens and the displacement of over 2 million others. Farmers from the worst affected state who said their dreams and aspirations of multi-million naira prosperous harvest were drowned by the flood, claimed to have been ignored by the emergency agency. Committee had in October 2022 approved 1.5 billion naira for NEMA for the procurement and supply of food and non-food relief materials. Former Secretary to Jigawa State Government, Muhammad Inuwa Tahir, has claimed that massive retirement and employment embargo has paralyzed the state civil service. He stated this while presenting a paper titled Challenges of Human Resource in the Civil Service of Jigawa State, What Needs to be Done at a one-day workshop organized by Next Jigawa. He said the state civil service has been identified to have suffered undue neglect over the years, with most of the experienced and capable officers retired, dead, or transferred their services elsewhere. Tahir said the civil situation led to serious challenges in terms of adequacy and skill gaps across the state. He noted that civil servants constitute the heartbeat of an organization, a state, and to a larger extent to the nation. Tahir, however, advised the government to, as a matter of urgency, rescue the state civil service through staff evaluation, recruitment of new staff, reintroduction of the special training program, training funding, mentoring, and succession planning. Malam Maduri also said drainage were constructed at Kashin Dila, Garin Gabas, and Akurya. Malam Maduri Local Government Council has constructed embankments and earth filling in 10 communities under the Ecological Fund to avoid flood. The chairman of the local council, Alhaji Hussein Umar Baku BK, who disclosed this in a Radio Jigawa phone-in program, marking 2 years of his administration, said 39 million naira was received from the Ecological Fund. He said some of the communities include Agin, Kadumankwari, Tashina, Azamu, Arki, and Jiguri. Alhaji Hussein Umar Bago said drainages were constructed at Kashindila, Garingabas, and Apuria, together with earth filling, which successfully avoided flood in recent times. He noted that solar street lights were installed at Kargo, Dambari, Kadumantudu, Hading, and Bulakori, while some mechanical water schemes were converted to solar power at Kampala, Agin, Apuria, and Kashindila Baba to improve water supply under the Shopee program. Alhaji Hussein Umar Bago, who commended Governor Malam Umar Namadi for his support and encouragement to local councils in the state, prayed for improvement on national allocation and urged the government to continue supporting the state of the training of 7,000 recruits for the Kaduna Vigilance Service to complement the effort of other security agencies to tackle kidnapping, armed robbery, and other related crimes in the state. The governor added that the recruits being trained at the Police College, Kaduna, in the state capital, were drawn from the 23 local government areas of the state. Speaking at the event, Sani said the recruits, after their intensive and vigorous training, will complement the effort of security agencies and the raid state of crimes. The governor noted that the recruitment became necessary because of the shortfall of regular security agencies in the battle to tackle security challenges across the state. You are listening to the news from the studio of Sawaba. Stay tuned for the rest.
This is News on the Hour, Sawaba Radio FM. Stay tuned.
For the Africa Climate Approach to Climatic Change. The meeting in Nairobi is the first of its kind in Africa. Its aim is to come up with a common plan to present to the world leaders at the COP28 United Nations Climate Summit later this year. Over the next 3 days, delegates at the summit will consider a new funding model to help governments reduce carbon emissions. Kenyan President William Ruto said Africa should be part of the solution to global warming rather than a victim. African countries are among the smallest contributors to climatic change but suffer some of its worst effects. The Foreign Minister of France has reiterated her country's commitment to maintaining troops in Niger and keeping the French ambassador in place. The military leadership in Yamai demanded the envoy's expulsion more than a week ago. Ms. Colonna was speaking as tens of thousands of demonstrators took to the street of Yamai for a third consecutive day near a French military base. They again called on the former colonial power to withdraw its troops. France has about 1,500 soldiers stationed in Niger to help quell an insurgency in the Sahel region. Meanwhile, Niger's top court approved the immediate expulsion of France's ambassador, revoking his diplomatic immunity, according to a request addressed to the court's president. The development comes after France President Emmanuel Macron rejected the ruling junta's demand to recall his ambassador a month after a coup disrupted relations between the two former allies. Britain's Charles III reaches the milestone of his first year as king this week, with his reign so far characterized by a smooth transition from that of his later mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The anniversary on Friday is expected to be marked privately, given the date is also that of his mother's death at the age of 96. Charles, age 74, has slipped into his new role with apparent ease after some 70 years waiting as heir, the longest of any British history. But despite expectation of reform, he has not yet made sweeping changes to the monarchy, fueling perceptions that is a caretaker role before his eldest son and heir Prince William takes over. Charles was officially crowned alongside his wife Camilla on May 6 at London's Westminster Abbey in front of royalty and global leaders. That has been end of the news, but before I go, recap of the major story. You had federal government vows to clamp down illegal miners. Massive retirement paralyzed civil service in Jigawa State. France insists its troops stays in Niger despite court order. On behalf of the News